Have you ever felt like someone is controlling your thoughts and emotions without even saying a word? Like you are making your own decisions, but somehow you are being pushed in a direction you didn't consciously choose. And deep inside, you feel that something is not right, but you cannot explain what it is. This is what silent manipulation looks like. Silent manipulation is one of the most dangerous psychological strategies because it does not rely on words, commands, or obvious actions. Instead, it works quietly through behavior, emotions, and subtle signals that slowly influence the way you think, feel, and act. And the most terrifying part is that the person being manipulated often has no idea that it is happening. In this world, there are generally two types of people: those who manipulate and those who get manipulated. And the truth is, most people don't even realize which category they belong to, because silent manipulation is not loud or aggressive. It is calm, subtle, and almost invisible, which makes it far more powerful than direct control. The human mind is extremely sensitive. Everything we see, feel, and experience shapes our decisions. And silent manipulation takes advantage of this natural tendency by creating situations that slowly guide your thoughts without forcing you, making you believe that whatever you are doing is your own choice. It often starts with small behavioral changes. Someone gives you a lot of attention, makes you feel special, important, and valued, and then suddenly they pull away. They become distant, they ignore you, and this sudden shift creates confusion in your mind. You start questioning yourself, wondering if you did something wrong, if you said something you shouldn't have, and without realizing it, you begin to adjust your behavior just to regain their attention. This is where the real control begins, not through force, but through emotional dependency. You start seeking their approval, trying to fix things, trying to make them happy, and in the process, you slowly lose your sense of independence and identity, because now your actions are no longer based on what you want, but on how they react. Silent manipulation does not need words because silence itself becomes a powerful tool. Sometimes a pause, a cold reaction, or a lack of response can create more impact than 1,000 spoken words. When someone intentionally ignores you or creates distance, your mind automatically tries to fill that gap. You overthink, you analyze, and you become emotionally invested in figuring them out. At this point, you believe you are in control. You believe you are making your own choices. But in reality, those choices are already influenced by the other person's behavior. They are not giving you orders. They are simply shaping the environment in such a way that you respond exactly how they want you to. This kind of manipulation is very common in relationships, friendships, and even workplaces. Many people use it to gain emotional power over others. They create confusion, reduce your confidence, and slowly make you dependent on them without ever directly telling you what to do. The most dangerous part is that the victim often blames themselves. They think they are the problem. They believe they need to change, while in reality, they are just reacting to a carefully designed psychological pattern. So the question is, have you ever experienced something like this? Or is there someone in your life right now who is silently influencing your thoughts and emotions without you even realizing it? Because sometimes the most dangerous control is the one you cannot see, but it slowly changes everything inside you. Now that you understand what silent manipulation is, the real question is how people actually use it in everyday life to control others without saying a single word. Because this kind of influence does not happen suddenly, it is a slow psychological process where a person subtly shapes your thoughts and emotions until you start reacting exactly the way they want. One of the most common and powerful techniques is silence itself. When someone suddenly stops talking to you, ignores your messages, or acts like you do not exist, it is not just distance. It is a form of punishment without words. And this silence creates a storm inside your mind. You start questioning yourself, wondering what went wrong, and without realizing it, you begin to blame yourself and try to fix things. And in that moment, the other person gains control over your emotions. Another powerful method is controlling through eye contact and nonverbal behavior. Sometimes a single look can create pressure, confidence, or discomfort. When someone constantly maintains intense eye contact, it can make you feel exposed and mentally dominated. And when they avoid eye contact, it can make you feel unimportant or uneasy. And in both situations, your mind starts adjusting your behavior just to match their response, slowly giving them influence over you. Then comes a very dangerous pattern where a person behaves warmly one moment and cold the next. They give you attention, make you feel special, appreciated, and emotionally connected, and then suddenly they withdraw. They become distant and unavailable. This sudden shift creates emotional instability, and your mind becomes addicted to the moments when they treated you well. So you keep trying to regain that feeling, and in this process, you unknowingly fall deeper under their control. There is also a technique where a person intentionally creates confusion by never being clear. They give vague answers, avoid direct communication, and leave things incomplete. This forces your mind to overthink. You start analyzing every word, every action, and you become mentally occupied with trying to understand them. And the more you think about them, the more control they gain over your thoughts. Another subtle but highly effective strategy is mirroring, where a person copies your behavior, your tone, your interests, and even your body language. This creates a sense of familiarity and connection. You start feeling like this person understands you deeply, like they are just like you. And this emotional connection builds trust very quickly. And once that trust is established, influencing your decisions becomes much easier for them. All of these techniques may seem small and harmless on the surface, but when combined, they create a powerful psychological effect that can slowly take over your thinking patterns, your emotions, and even your decisions. And the most dangerous part is that you often do not realize it is happening because everything feels natural and unforced. The truth is, silent manipulation is everywhere, in relationships, in friendships, in workplaces, and even in everyday social interactions. And once you start noticing these patterns, you begin to see how easily people can influence each other without ever using direct words. Now, the important question is not just understanding these techniques, but recognizing them in your own life. Because awareness is the first step to breaking free from any kind of hidden control. And once you become aware, it becomes much harder for anyone to silently manipulate you. Now that you understand how silent manipulation works and how people use it to influence your thoughts and emotions, the most important question is how you can protect yourself from it. Because awareness alone is not enough if you do not know how to respond when it actually happens in your life. The first step to protecting yourself is recognizing your own emotional triggers, because manipulation only works when someone is able to control how you feel. If you constantly seek approval, fear rejection, or depend on others for validation, it becomes easier for someone to use those emotions against you. But the moment you become aware of your triggers, you start gaining control over your reactions instead of giving that control to someone else. Another powerful defense is learning to stay calm in situations where someone is trying to provoke a reaction from you, because silent manipulators often rely on your emotional responses. They want you to feel confused, anxious, or desperate. And when you react emotionally, you give them exactly what they want. But when you stay calm, observe their behavior, and refuse to react immediately, you break their pattern of control. It is also important to set clear mental boundaries, even if you do not say them out loud. You must decide within yourself what behavior you will accept and what you will not, because manipulators often test your limits. They push you slowly to see how much control they can gain. And if you do not have strong boundaries, you may find yourself accepting behavior that slowly damages your confidence and self-respect. Another key strategy is to stop overanalyzing everything, because manipulation feeds on overthinking. When someone creates confusion or behaves inconsistently, your mind naturally tries to find answers, but the more you think, the more trapped you become. Sometimes the most powerful response is to step back, stop analyzing, and look at the situation from a distance with clarity instead of emotion. You also need to trust patterns more than words or occasional actions, because manipulators can act nice for a short period of time to regain your trust, but their overall pattern never changes. If someone repeatedly makes you feel confused, insecure, or emotionally unstable, then that pattern itself is the truth, no matter how good they seem in certain moments. Another important defense is building emotional independence. When your happiness, confidence, and self-worth do not depend on one person's behavior, it becomes almost impossible for anyone to control you silently, because you are no longer reacting out of fear of losing them. Instead, you are acting based on your own values and self-respect. Sometimes the strongest move is to create distance, not out of anger, but out of clarity, because not every situation needs confrontation, and not every manipulator will accept their behavior. In such cases, stepping back and protecting your mental space is the smartest decision you can make. Finally, always remember that real relationships do not leave you in constant confusion. They do not make you question your worth again and again, and they do not rely on silence, mixed signals, or emotional games to survive. If something feels wrong consistently, then it probably is, and trusting that feeling can save you from long-term emotional damage. Silent manipulation only works in the dark, when you are unaware of what is happening. But the moment you understand these patterns and start observing instead of reacting, you take back control of your own mind. And once you have control over your thoughts and emotions, no one can silently manipulate you again.